Funding meant for traders. Mentfunding. Okay, what's going on, traders? Welcome to Mentfunding. I'm going to quickly teach you how you can actually calculate the max amount of lots you're able to risk on any given asset class or any asset pair, how to think about it within Mentfunding's rules, and how to actually then go on further and then risk the amount you actually want to risk on a trade. So the first thing that you need to actually understand is that, okay, so I'm going to write it right here. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen right here. So the first thing is Mentfunding rules, okay? So part of Mentfunding's rules is that you're going to have a lot size cap. Even if the calculation works out to being more than this, there's a lot size cap, and this is viewed as per the leverage as well as the account size. So for instance, if you have a $100,000 account with Mentfunding, you all are aware that at 1 to 10, you are going to be able to trade 10 lots max no matter what on this pair. That does not, on this account. This does not mean that it's 10 lots on EU or 10 lots on gold. That's not exactly what it means whatsoever. I'm going to show you guys the calculation in a second, but it just means that 10 lots is up to the max you can trade. And if you upgrade to 1 to 20, of course, this goes to 20 lots. Very simple. Similarly, right, if you're on a $200,000 account, well, simply it's 20 lots at 1 to 10 and 40 lots at 1 to 20. Similarly, on a $1 million account, right, at 1 to 10, you're talking about 100 lots. At 1 to 20, you're talking about 200 maximum lots. Very, very simple. That's the lot size cap that comes through Mentfunding's rules, and those cannot be broken no matter what. But that does not mean that's the max you can actually risk. Sometimes it's actually less than that. Let's talk about how to find that out. So let's put this to the side. There we go. Let's go down a little bit. Now we're going to look at how much can you actually risk on a pair. So how much, and I'm going to circle this number right here. So the lot size cap will make it purple, okay? Now the next question is, how much can you risk on any given asset, okay? And very simply, the way that you're going to approach how much can you actually risk total, how many lots can you actually open on any asset, is the following way. You're going to take your account size. I'm going to give you guys an example as well. An account size times the leverage on that account, okay, divided by the contract size of the asset you're trading, okay, times 1 over, okay, so you're going to divide that number, basically, of the actual asset price, which is the asset you're trading. So now let me give you an example, okay? Let me give you an example to make this very clear and make it very simple. So let's assume, for our example, okay, we want to know, so you, trader A, that's you, wants to know how many maximum lots he can open on gold, which is XAU USD, with Mentfunding, right? So that's with 8 cap at the moment. I don't know if that's going to be the case for the long term, but at the moment it's with 8 cap. Well, very simply right now, you would now head into your actual MetaTrader where you're trading the specific thing, okay? And very simply, what you would do is you would go, what's your account size? So let's assume you guys are trading a 200K account, maybe with the competition. So very simply, your account size is $200,000, right? $200,000 is what you're trading as your account size, times the leverage, which is in the competition or up in the upgrades, 1 to 20. So times 20 leverage over the contract size. Where do we find that? If you go over to your MetaTrader and you right click on any asset that you're trading and you go to specification, you will see inside of here, down a few lines, you'll see this thing called contract size. You can see here the contract size, and this differs from broker to broker. On this broker, the contract size is 100. So this will be over 100. And then the whole thing times 1 over the asset price. And currently, as we're taking a look at this, you can see the asset price is 1919.30. So we're just going to round up. So it's 1919.30. 920. We're just rounding up to make the numbers very easy. And now we can calculate this math to show us the max lots, okay, that we can actually trade on this pair or this asset, in this case, gold. So 200K times 20 puts us at what? That's $4 million in buying power. Now that $4 million of buying power is divided by the contract size, which is 100, and that still needs to be multiplied by 1 over the actual asset price. Okay, now that comes down to 4 million over 100 for the asset price, puts us down to 4,000. Okay, so we have $40,000 of buying power on gold because of its contract size, times 1 over 1920, right? So times 1 over 1920 is the same as writing 40K over 1920. And that works out to, so let me do the math right here on my phone. So we have 40,000 over 1920. So that works out to 20.8 lots. Okay, so what we know is that on gold, specifically through Mentfunding, with this broker, all this stuff, you are only able to open 20.8 lots of a trade on this, right? And now, if we look at this, does that go over the lot size cap? Now, if you were trading a Mentfunding 1 to 10 leverage account, the 20 lot size, this goes over it, which means that your actual minimum becomes 20, right? But because you're trading with the 1 to 20 leverage, this is completely within the bounds, which means that 20.8 is the highest account, is the highest number you can open with a 200K account, right? So what does this number mean? It means that on a 200K account, at 1 to 20 leverage, this is the most amount of lots you can open on gold. And now this is going to change based on the asset you're looking at and on this math. So that's how you calculate the max amount you're able to open. Now, how do you actually calculate what you're able to risk and then make sure that that's within the numbers? So now let's take it to the next step. So your actual risk, okay? So let's say you actually want to risk. So let's assume, again, trader A wants to open a trade, okay? A trade. And again, the trader wants to risk, let's say, you want to risk $1,000, 1,000, $1,000 risk on gold, and you want to buy it right now. So right now the price is $19.19. You want to buy it right now at $19.19. That's the gold price, and exit at 19, let's say 1910, so about $9 of risk, okay, or so, and that's when you want to exit, and you have $1,000 risk, okay. How many lots should I open, and can I? So can you open it? Okay. So again, very simply, we know the max amount that we can open in the first place, which is that 20.8 lots on a 200K account. Now we need to decide if we're able to risk this amount, okay? So now you have the calculation for risk, and that's very simply your dollar risk divided by basically the asset risk size of the asset you're trading times the contract size. Okay, so very simply, let's fill this in now. So we have $1,000 of risk that we want to put onto a trade, okay? And actually, before I do this, let me get rid of this. So what we need to do very quickly is calculate asset risk size. So asset, or actually, let's write them all out, okay? Very simple. So the dollar risk equals 1,000. The asset risk size equals 1919 minus 1910, right? That and that, which equals, what is that? 9, okay? And then we have contract size, which again, we've already found, and we've determined what that is through our broker by checking the specification setting in the MetaTrader, and that puts us at 100. So now very simply, let's plug it all in. 1,000 over 9 times 100, right? Which puts us at 1,000 over 900, which puts us at, let's do that math really quickly, 900, which puts us at 1.11. So very simply, if we opened a 1.11 lot size right now, there it is, on gold, we are going to have $1,000 risk if we're exiting at 1910, right? So if we're exiting at 1910 is where we're exiting, we're going to have $1,000 of risk. So let's take a look if that's true. So if I quickly go to new order and I put my stop loss at 1910, because that's where I want to exit the trade, right? 1910, which is down here, and I enter a trade volume of 1.11, which, by the way, remember, is less than the max amount we're allowed to use, so we're able to actually open this amount of risk. Well, if we open this buy right now, there we go, and we hover over our stop loss, you can see it's $1,000 of risk, or just around it. This is the calculation that you use for it. So that's within the realm of what we want to risk. Now, let's say you wanted to have a risk of $1,000 on a much, much smaller stop size. So let's say we were on a 5-minute and you wanted to have a stop loss right here, right at 1918. Well, you do the same math, right? You want to risk let's do it again, because this is going to show you that sometimes you're not able to risk that same amount. So let's say you want to risk $1,000, right, on an asset risk size of 1919.90 minus 1918.77, right? Because that's the size. So you have 1919.90 minus 1918.77. So over 1.13 times 100. Again, that works out to 1,000 over 113, which gives us 1,000 over 113. That's 8.84. So if we enter 8.84 lots right now, so if we click new order, enter 8.84 lots, and our exit was at 1918.77, and we press buy, again, if we were to exit now at this level, you can't see it right now, there we go. If we were to exit here, if we go over it, take a look, it's about $1,000. Now, again, the calculation's a little bit off because we're rounding up and down, but again, that 8.8 lots gives us about a risk of $1,000 now. And again, why are we able to open it? Well, in this case, because I'm on a $2 million account, but also, if you had a $200,000 account with a maximum lot size permissible of 20.8, this number here is less than 20.8, and therefore you're able to open the trade. That is how you very simply calculate risk, understand the risk you can actually have open on any given trade, and then actually take on that risk when it's time to get involved. And similarly, if you make use of something like a manager, so I sell this MentFX Trade Manager that's available. You can just look it up on the MQL4 store. You can find down here, if you click on market and type in MManage or MentFX, you should find it, or MentFX, right? I believe. There it is. Very, very easy. Because that's bullshit. Okay, very, very easy. You should be able to find that. And if you do that, then lo and behold, all right, there we go. Then if I close all of these trades really quickly, enable hotkeys, close everything. Okay, we're gonna just close all this out. There we go. So if we close everything, then the same thing's gonna be the same thing's gonna be true. If I go back to my hourly chart, if I click market order, if I click on risk dollar amount and I say I want to risk $1,000 on my trade, okay, and then if I press on, let me find where 1910 is around. It's around here. Okay. If I press on and click around the 1910 area, boop, now I've entered a long, and if you look at the size, right? The risk, as you can see, is $1,000. So it ends up with the same calculation. That's the calculation that can be done. So you can go and find a manager that does this stuff for you, but also make sure that if you're using a manager, you understand how much you're able to actually, what stop size you can actually enter on. Because again, if you try to enter this on a very low time frame, right under price, you might not be able to do it because you might be exceeding this lot size. So that's how you calculate that. That's how you understand what your maximum is, and make sure you stay within the bounds. Very, very simple. Take the time to learn it and you'll never have a question about it again. Thanks, guys. Quick disclaimer, these videos are meant for educational purposes only. Anything said or shown in any of these videos are personal opinion and my perspective. Trading carries a high level of risk, so anything done is your responsibility.